Okay, so good day to everyone and welcome to the collaborative work of our group. Today we will be tackling topics regarding malaria, dengue, yellow fever, African trypanosomiasis. I am Rohan Reynagal and together with my group mates Raya Micaela Panuga, um, Kaysilin Besa, Joshua Pedrosa, Catherine Faye Ortilia, Tashana Riel Tadford, uh, Elias Santino Espiritu, and Evan Marie Mamukud.
So to start off our presentation, let's take a closer look at the one of the most well-known and deadly mosquito-borne diseases of the world, the malaria. So next slide, please. So malaria is caused by a parasite called Plasmodium. So there are 5 species known to infect humans. So P. falciparum, ito yung most dangerous and most prevalent in Africa. And next, P. vivax, common in Asia and Latin America. Ito yung known na nagkakos ng relapses due to dormant liver stages. And next, P. oval, similar to P. vivax, but it is ano siya, less common siya. And next, yung P. malari. Um, ito naman nagkakos ng chronic infections if left untreated. And yung last na type is yung P. knowles. Um, primarily, ano siya, zoonotic siya, pero nagkakos din siya ng infection sa humans sa Southeast Asia. So, malaria is primarily found in sub-Saharan Africa, where the burden is the highest, as well as some parts of Asia, Central and South America, and Oceania. So, alam naman natin na yung mosquitoes, they thrive in the warm, humid environments, di ba? Um, so, next slide po. So, the malaria parasite is primarily they spread through a bite of an infected female Anopheles mosquito. So babaeng mosquito lang na Anopheles. And then ito less common types to, less common modes through blood transfusion, organ transplants, sharing of contaminated needles, and vertical transmission from mother to child. So important na malaman natin 'to para mapigilan natin yung spread, especially sa healthcare tayo soon na magwo-work. Next slide. So let's walk through the journey of the malaria parasite in the body. So nag-i-start 'to na kapag nakagat na 'yon ng mosquito. Nakagat tayo ng Anopheles mosquito. So yung Anopheles mosquito nagre-release siya ng sporozoites. Ito yung tinatawag natin na parasite stage. So, itong sporozoites, pumapasok siya sa bloodstream natin. And then sa bloodstream, and syempre magka-travel siya sa liver. Pagpunta niya sa liver, nagiging ano siya, merozoites. Ito naman yung mature form niya. And next slide po. So dito sa blood stage, the merozoites, they exit the liver and they infect the red blood cells. From the liver, mapupunta sa red blood cells. And here, dito naman, nagkakos naman siya ng rupture sa cells. So nagkakaroon tayo, ito yung pag nagkakaroon ng rupture sa cells, ito yung tinatawag natin na nagkakaroon tayo ng symptoms like fever and then chills. Next, yung ibang merozoites naman, nagde-develop siya into gametocytes, which is the sexual form of the parasite. So, when another mosquito bites the infected person na meron itong gametocytes, nagiging nai-infect niya yung mosquito. So yung parang from galing sa person, infected person, so mapupunta siya sa mosquito, and then yung mosquito ano ulit siya ng may infect naman niya ang bagong host. So next slide po. recognizing the signs of malaria, signs and symptoms. So let's now talk about how malaria presents in patients. Ang most common symptoms po, which appear around 10 to 15 days after a ito yung fever, chills and sweating, headache, muscle aches, myalgia, fatigue, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. Ayan, napaka-common. Next, in severe cases, especially kapag infected to ng P. falciparum, ito naman yung high fever, impaired consciousness, confusion, seizure. Severe anemia, ito naman ang cause naman nito is due to destruction of red blood cells. Ayan, hemoglobinuria. Ito naman yung tinatawag nating dark colored urine due to hemoglobin release. Respiratory distress or yung ARDS, acute respiratory syndrome. Kidney failure, possible din dyan yung liver failure. And lastly, itong cerebral malaria. Ito naman yung kapag yung parasite pumasok na siya sa brain natin. So, pag hindi natin na-treat itong malaria, it can become fatal, especially sa mga children under 5, pregnant women, and tsaka mga immunocompromised individuals. So, paano natin ita-diagnose ang malaria? Early and accurate diagnosis is crucial to reduce complication and prevent transmission. Okay po. So, itong microscopy is yung tinatawag nating gold standard. Ayan talaga yung pinakauna dapat nating gawin. So, yung a drop of blood is stained using a Giemsa stain, and it is examined under a microscope to identify the presence, species, and quantity of parasites. So, makikita natin dyan sa picture, ayan yung blood smear of the patient with malaria. So, yung arrow na tinuturo dyan, yan yung Plasmodium falciparum. Pinapakita dyan na ini-infect niya yung red blood cells. Next po. Next is rapid diagnostic test. So they detect malaria antigens in the blood, and they are helpful in remote or resource limited settings. They provide results in about 15 minutes. Okay po. Next, polymerase chain reaction. These tests are highly sensitive and specific po. So they are able to detect even low levels of parasite DNA. Although hindi naman siya routinely used, ang PCR ay ideal kapag confirming cases, and especially pag ina-identify natin ang mixed infections. Lalo na ginagamit siya in research and kapag nire-refer sa hospital.
So next is how malaria affects our body. So this is the pathophysiology. Okay, next slide. So for the pathophysiology, first, the parasite invades red blood cells. So doon, pagka-invade pa lang ng parasite, mag-enter siya sa ating bloodstream, no? Tapos, doon pa lang sa bloodstream natin, magmumultiply siya doon. And then next is yung RBC bursting. So, disinfected RBCs burst open. So, nagbe-burst siya, releasing more parasites and triggering your body's defense, which causes the main symptoms like yung fever, chills, anemia, na due na rin dun sa loss ng ating RBC. Then next is spleen overload. Then lastly is the organ damage. So impaired blood flow and inflammation can lead to problems in organs like the kidneys, lungs, and the liver. Next slide. So this is the ways on how we will be combating the malaria, the treatment, and the prevention. Next slide. So, for the treatment nung sa P. vivax and sa P. ovale malaria, meron siyang drugs na pwedeng gawin for the blood stages, and meron ding special medicines like the primaquine or the tafenoquine para naman sa pampaklear dun sa liver stage. So, syempre, pag sa severe cases naman na, immediate attention na siya. Next slide. So, ito din yung isang option din for treating malaria, artemisinin-based combination therapies. Next. So, this is our the vector to control and prevent. Syempre, we should wear long-sleeve clothing, use mosquito nets, and of course, important to, mosquito repellent. Next slide. So, these are the ways rin to prevent. Of course, yung chemoprophylaxis. Sa chemoprophylaxis, yung kaninang pinakita natin, yung AX. Then, next is vaccination, number 1 din. There are 2 types of vaccination na kasi ngayon sa panahon na to. We have the RTS and the R21. And for the preventive chemotherapy naman, meron yung SPAX or yung sulfadoxine, pyrimethamine, and amodiaquine. Okay, next slide.
So, for the dengue, overview lang, medyo kilala naman natin to. Dengue is a mosquito-borne viral infection. That is caused by a dengue virus. So, next slide nga po. Ayan po, caused lang po siya by a dengue virus. Stemming from an Aedes aegypti. Siya rin yung nag-cause ng mga yellow fever na Aedes aegypti na mosquito, which also causes the yellow fever itself. So, it has 4 distinct types, which are the dengue virus 1, 2, 3, and 4. Wala naman silang sobrang differences from mild to severe symptoms lang. But each serotypes can cause disease, and it has different interactions with the antibodies in the human blood. Meron din silang kanya-kanyang genetic variation, but they all produce the same disease and range of clinical symptoms. Nag-iiba rin sila in terms of severity. Katulad ng sinabi ko kanina sa symptoms din. Kung saan si DENV2 or dengue 2 and 4 is maybe associated with more severe disease, particularly yung mga secondary infections or the second infection with a different dengue serotype. And sa lahat ng viruses na yan, si DENV2, siya yung more likely to cause secondary infections. Meaning, nagkakaroon na siya ng mga complications dyan. Sila yung kadalasan or common na nakikitang serotype sa mga infected humans. Si DENV1 naman, kilala siya to have a higher viral RNA load sa blood compared sa ibang serotypes, and sometimes involved siya with a higher risk of dengue. And we'll dig deeper into that later naman. So this is endemic in tropical or subtropical regions worldwide. So kasama talaga tayo dyan, Philippines, including the Caribbean and the Southeast Asia, yung mga may init na lugar. So yung mga maraming langaw din. So next slide nga. We will tackle onto that.
Dengue's mode of transmission. Dengue viruses are spread to people. As you can see in the image, is a cycle of transmission.
Kat, excuse me.
Sa mosquito.
Kat, hindi masyadong naririnig.
Ayan, okay na. Okay. Okay na? Ayan, okay na. Palabas na. Okay na, okay. Again, dengue's mode of transmission. Dengue viruses are spread to people.
Kat, ayaw talaga. Baka kapag nakalapag yung device mo. Teka, ulit na lang tayo.